Thank you for tuning in today. Happy Friday to each of you. Well, recently, the governor of our state has issued a shelter in place order. Scary times in which you and I are living. Strange times indeed. In fact, someone recently commented that these are uncharted waters or this is uncharted territory. But, folks, isn't it a blessing that you and I are not sheltered from the Word of God? Through technology like what I'm using today, we can still study not only ourselves but share with others. And that is what this particular series is designed to do. Boonville Church of Christ continues to do everything that we can to reach out with the Word of God, to study the Word of God together. And today I'd like for us to continue in Luke chapter 6, verses 6 through 9, where we have been studying the parable of the barren fig tree. And he told this parable, that's Jesus talking, this parable. This is a story that takes something they understood, you and I can understand, and then teaches something that is soul important, eternally important. A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came seeking fruit on it and found none. I underlined the word planted. We were focusing on that yesterday. The man there is God. The fig tree, that's you and that's me. Planted, that's something that has been done on purpose. God has a purpose for you and me as we are in his vineyard, his church, as we live our lives in the physical realm for him spiritually. He has a tree planted in his vineyard. And so we yesterday looked at that image and understood God as looking at you and me. And as you think about your life and asking yourself, am I a tree planted in the vineyard of God? I want to remind you of another text that uses the same language. David wrote in the first Psalm, and I hope you'll listen to it as we read it together. Psalm 1. Blessed is the man. Let's stop right there. The word man in the Hebrew is not in the masculine, but it refers to male and female. So let me read this as an English teacher would read it. Blessed is the person who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers, but his or her delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law, God's law, he or she meditates day and night. Now, let's continue reading. Verse 3, he or she is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season. Notice another picture of a fig tree and the fruit that's growing on it. He or she is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he or she does, he or she prospers. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the wicked, but the way of for the Lord knows, the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked shall perish. Now, a man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard. God has a life planted in his church, planted in this life, and it has a purpose. I want you to imagine in the physical, first of all, here's that man. He has that fig tree planted, and he's coming looking on that fig tree. He's looking for the fruit that is supposed to be growing there near the branch, near the leaf, growing stronger each day, ready to be harvested, ready to do what it's supposed to do. Now, you know what you and I learned from that verse? A man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard. We learned that the God of heaven is a seeking God. The God of heaven is looking into my life and into your life. He's looking into our hearts and into our lives to see if that fruit is there the way it is supposed to. The God of heaven is a seeking God. Thank you so very much for listening today. I pray that you and I will continue our study together and that God will bless you with a wonderful day. Thank you for listening.